everybody. This is Scott Mann, CEO and founder of Stability Institute, where we broker knowledge and connect stability professionals on complex stability problems all over the world. And I want to thank you for dialing into this special video series on Board of Advisors introductions. Today, we are very fortunate to have my good friend, Dr. Bill Erysian, who is one of our advisors here at the Stability Institute. And Bill is the Director of International Projects, Fresno State University College of Agriculture. And Bill and I met each other, I guess it was a couple of years ago, when the Village Stability Program in Afghanistan was well underway. I was fortunate enough to go out to California and present on village stability operations and rural stability to the ADAPT class, and we'll talk more about what that acronym means in a few minutes, but it basically was an agricultural training program that was in place. And Bill and I got to know each other. I got to understand his perspective and his work in the agricultural realm, and when we were looking at advisors for the Stability Institute, it was a no-brainer to see what Bill has done to promote and advocate agriculture in these undergoverned at-risk areas. He is clearly the guy that we needed on the board to help address that component of it. And you know, our advisors, Bill, all bring different skill sets, different functions, different disciplines, and certainly Bill's experience in the agricultural and economic development realm are why we asked him to come here. So first of all, Bill, thanks for being here with us.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's really a pleasure, and it's a privilege to serve on the board.
So I was wondering if maybe you could tell us a little bit about the ADAPT program, what that is and how that got started, and then we'll shift into some perspective stuff. But let's just start with that. Tell us a little bit about ADAPT, how you got involved with that, and really what that means to our members.
Yeah, sure. ADAPT, or a longer version of it, is Agricultural Development for Afghanistan Pre-Deployment Training. So this is a program that myself and several of my associates in California assembled after some experience working with some Marine Civil Affairs officers who escorted a group of Iraqis to Fresno for some training in irrigation. The Iraqis were with the government of, I think, the Al-Anbar province, I think that was the region they were from. In any event, I started talking to these Marines about what civil affairs was. I didn't know. But I sensed that it had something to do with governance and stability operations, agriculture, anything to do at sort of a village level. And as I began to talk to these Marines, we both all sort of clicked at the same time, saying, well, wait a minute, this is the kind of training I think that could benefit civilians and soldiers who are serving our country overseas. So the idea evolved from that, in that we would provide a 40-hour training workshop, primarily in the field, but some lectures about basic concepts in agriculture, agricultural extension issues, but not trying to make the students extension agents, but giving them an understanding of some of the primary issues involved in agriculture at the village level: soil, water, post-harvest issues, anything that they were probably going to encounter in their duties in civil affairs. So as that program developed, we began to attract funding from the U.S. Department of Agriculture, and then commenced 25 workshops over a period of 2 years, in which we trained about 800 soldiers and civilians from a number of different units and agencies. So the idea was to bring agriculture to a level where these individuals would be comfortable with the terminology and the understanding of the relationship between agriculture and the local farmers, and how they could use agriculture as a conflict mitigation tool, how they could use agriculture as a way to identify potential flashpoints in the village, and how they might even offer some very fundamental advice and support. The idea was that we could also teach these students how to identify high-impact, low-technology, low-cost intervention techniques that would then build confidence and trust between them and the local villagers. And that was a very, very successful program. It's recently ended, but we're continuing to offer the training program to other units as on an on-demand basis. For the most part.
Let me interrupt you there, because it's something that I think our viewers need to know, our members need to know, is, for example, the agricultural department at Fresno State and the other ag contributors. I mean, this is what you guys do. I mean, this is, and I think that's not commonly understood a lot in some of the other circles of the stability community. I mean, that there are folks out there, there are organizations out there who are practitioners of this kind of low-tech agriculture stuff, who do it every day and who understand it on a very fundamental level.
Yeah, let me explain about the advantages of utilizing Fresno as the training site, specifically for Afghanistan. Fresno's a semi-arid climate. We grow about 400 crops in the central San Joaquin Valley. Central San Joaquin Valley, a 6-county area, was responsible for $42 billion in gross farm receipts last year. It's the largest agricultural producing region in the world. Fresno State University happens to sit right in the middle of that area. So it is natural that faculty and other individuals associated with the university are going to have a direct relationship with industry. Right. And that means solving problems, hands-on research and training, and that sort of applicability to our students. So yeah. We are not a research institution. We're really more of a learn by doing, hands-on applied research institution where we solve problems. So we took the expertise of a lot of our faculty and combined that with practitioners who had served in Afghanistan in a development mode and development concept, and put them all together as our core of instructors for ADAP.
Well, that brings up another point. You've done some kind of informal research on just the impact of agriculture in many of these undergoverned areas. I forget which parallel it was that you talked about that these regions lie along. When it comes to similar agricultural concerns, can you talk a little bit about that? I mean, when you look at the kind of the correlation between emerging hotspots and the significance of agriculture along that geographic line.
Sure. I was talking about the 36th parallel, and I remember you went back on the map somewhere and looked at it, and you're like, oh my goodness, it's right along there where a lot of the flashpoints are. I only use the 36th parallel as an example because it sort of runs through the area I was talking about back in California. But we feel strongly about the connection between food insecurity and stability within undergoverned regions. We think those two go hand in hand. If you look at USAID's contributions overseas, 58% or 60% of their aid money goes to unstable areas. And within those programs, there is always a component of agriculture. I'd like to see a larger percentage of it, but those issues aren't determined by us. So we recognize the importance of food insecurity and agriculture. If you look at regions where instability occurs, where insurgencies begin, the majority of it is going to be in the rural areas. So someone says that 70% of Afghanistan's economy is devoted to agriculture. A lot of the countries USAID is operating in, large portions of the economy are devoted to agriculture. They contribute to agriculture contributes to the general economy of the country. In the rural areas, it's 100% to a large degree. So that's an important factor that often gets overlooked, and we try to re-emphasize that to anybody who comes through the course or even in general discussions about our perspective on stability, and that is don't forget agriculture.
Right.
It's a key component. It's not the only one, but it's a key component in the process.
Yeah, and having you as an advisor, that helps us keep it top of mind here at the Institute. But another thing that you guys do on the agriculture piece that I want to make sure that our viewers know is that not only is agriculture important in these areas, but it's a bit different in these undergoverned clan and tribal areas. It's much more primitive, much more low tech, and understanding things like post-harvest and somewhat of a minimalist approach on sustainable agriculture. That's something you guys really stand for.
Yeah, that's very true, Scott. I think the approach that we take in our work, and not just in ADAP, but in our perspective on things, is that look at the situation from the farmer in the country where you're operating. Do not look at it from the perspective of U.S. agriculture, U.S. technology. That simply doesn't work. I mean, Afghanistan's littered with rusted tractors that people just took the tires off and sold for money. I mean, this is not the way to conduct a assistance program. So by introducing, again, as I said, very, very low tech but high impact intervention techniques that are appropriate for the problems that the local farmers are facing, and you have to identify those problems, then you're on the right track. And I think one of the criticisms of aid in general not just from the U.S. but from other countries, is it's dependent upon the focus of the donor organization rather than the needs of the client or the country. And that's, I mean, I don't know who can change that, but the perspectives are changing a little bit on how that balance should be viewed.
Yeah, and you know, the one analogy I always use is, you know, we always refer to fighting season in Afghanistan because we are kind of a threat-centric focus in how we do counterinsurgency and things, but you know, fighting season is not even a phrase that resonates with local Afghans. It's harvest season and planting season that really are top of mind for them.
Yeah, one of the things we introduce in the course is a crop calendar, and you'd be surprised how many students came through the course who had served in Afghanistan already in a civil affairs capacity and said, oh, so that's when they plant wheat. So it really gave them a perspective on how things work in agriculture in Afghanistan, and the entire course is based on that. But again, the principles are that you must take the perspective of the people that you're trying to support and help.
Right. No, that's exactly right. And so, wrapping things up here, Bill. You know, we did manage to video capture the ADAPT course from before it was terminated there, not terminated, but ran its course. You know, we've got that online at the Stability Institute. You guys are also working some future training opportunities as well.
Yeah, that's correct. We're converting the ADAPT training model into an online course for individuals who are unable to make it to Fresno and want a sort of a truncated, shorter version of ADAPT Lite, so to speak. And that's got some highlights and some areas that we think are important. And the important thing to remember too, Scott, is that the ADAPT concept is applicable just about anywhere.
Right.
It's not an Afghan-specific project. That's what makes it very exciting. And we're also continuing to work with civil affairs units in the Army and the Marine Corps on a sort of an on-demand basis. So ADAPT is alive and well, and we will continue to provide what we can.
All right, and just that's a great point to make, that most of the undergoverned at-risk areas that we focus on at the Stability Institute are heavily agricultural dependent. And you guys have a range of expertise in all of these areas. Some of it's functional expertise, but some of it's geographic and a big Rolodex to draw from.
Yeah, I mean, I really wanted to make that point. I think one of the things that we bring to the Stability Institute is our Rolodex of specialists. And these people have been all over the world and are anxious to serve and provide support and even make referrals to other individuals they might know that have a particular expertise in a particular region. So if you look deep enough in our files, we'll find the right people, and we're glad to provide that service.
Yeah, and that's you know, that's one of our big things here at the Institute, is to connect stability professionals. So how do folks contact you if they want to reach out?
They can send me an email, bill.e@csufresno.edu. Yeah. They can go on the ADAPT website, which is adaptafghan.org. They can call Scott, or they can call me directly at Fresno State University. It's 559-278-5115. And I wanted to say that we get 2 or 3 questions on the ADAPT website still every week.
Sure.
Mostly from individuals saying, is the training still available, or can you refer us to somebody who understands this or that? So we're constantly engaged.
Yeah, absolutely, and we're always ready to connect our practitioners to you guys through the Ask the Institute button, and we'll put the contact information up here as well. So, Bill, it's an honor to have you on the board of advisors. We're really thrilled to have you here and what you represent, and I know it's going to be a great time working together. So appreciate your time with Stability Institute.
Thank you very much. Right. Looking forward.
Okay, thanks a lot. And for our viewers out there, thanks for dialing in to this Board of Advisors overview. This is Scott Mann, CEO and founder of Stability Institute, and we appreciate you watching.